Hello, everybody. I'm back for another movie review, and this time I'm going to review the most successful movie ever in history, put simply, and that is, of course, Avatar. Avatar is a science fiction, fantasy, action adventure film that emerged back in 2009 by director James Cameron, and it was a movie that basically took him, spent the latter part of 12 years to get made. Although, even though it took technically 4 years, but James Cameron had been working on this thing for literally almost 12 years. Avatar is basically the story about a paraplegic named Jake Sully, played in the film by actor Sam Worthington, who ultimately is sent to the moon of Pandora to take over his brother's job of working in a scientific program called the Avatar program, where his body, his consciousness would be transferred into the body of a Na'vi, the denizens who live on the moon of Pandora, where he would basically infiltrate the Na'vi's domain and try to get them to leave their home, while the military arrived to try to, destroy their land. So basically, they can, find the minerals and resources they need to finance their operations. But of course, something happens while Jake is basically, employed and also in his Na'vi form. He begins to experience the fact that he's actually finally able to move around, with the use of his legs, which, like I said, he's a paraplegic. He can't use his legs. But he's also given the option, but also, while in his Na'vi form, he's also able to experience their culture, he's able to experience their lifestyles, understands their language, and even learns how to fight like one, and ultimately ends up falling in love with one. And at the end, he has to make a crucial decision, whether or not to stay with the people he's come to love, or return to the military and destroy the very people he's come to love. So that's basically Avatar in a nutshell. And of course, without a doubt, this movie is a true work of art. It really is. This movie really is just an absolute work of art. Visually in every way. But of course, the story itself, while there are some original concepts, it's not completely original. The movie did sort of borrow elements from other films. Say, for instance, as I've said, Avatar, basically, in a nutshell, the film is about a soldier who teams up, is sent by the military to basically deal with a group of natives who the military are trying to either drive away or destroy, and he ends up getting to know the natives by understanding their language, understanding their culture, learning how to fight like one, falling in love with one, and when the military do show up, he ends up having to making a life-altering decision. Will he rejoin the military that he was once part of to destroy the natives he grew to love, or will he stay with the natives and, fight off the military that he was once part of? And you realize Avatar borrowed elements from these other films. Take, for instance, Dances with Wolves. Or, how about The Last Samurai? Or how about Ferngully, The Last Rainforest? Or how about Pocahontas? In fact, James Cameron was inspired by the Disney film Pocahontas when he was coming up with the idea, when he got the inspiration to come up with the ideas for Avatar. So yeah, those four movies, it's like, basically, you could take all four of these films and put them in a blender, and what you get would be Avatar. Now, I'm not criticizing Avatar, but I will say that it's basically these four movies put in a blender, and this is what we get. But again, when it comes to the technical and the visual outlook for the movie, Avatar shines so brightly. And of course, yeah, the story is one of the major elements that has been criticized because of the fact that it's not an original idea. But at the same time, I mean, in a way, the visual look of the film definitely outshines the story. And this is obviously one film that really just, most of the time, most people just don't seem to care about the story. But I will say, the elements in the story do look really good for what they are. And for that sense, I think the movie holds up incredibly well. I mean, this is Avatar came out in what, 2009, so it's been what, 13 years? Yeah, since this movie came out. And honestly, after 13 years, this movie still shines greatly in every way. Now, of course, the movie, when it first debuted at the US box office in 2009, obviously it didn't have the biggest of openings. It grossed like a little over 70 million in its opening weekend, but it remained number one. I mean, it pulled the same move like Titanic did. In its opening weekend and the weekend after that, it remained number one, and it remained number one for like, I would say almost 7 weeks in a row. And it, at one point, even dethroned Titanic as the highest grossing movie of all time. I mean, in the US and worldwide. I mean, Avatar was also the first movie to gross over $2 billion worldwide. And in 2019, just 3 years ago, Avatar was briefly dethroned by Avengers Endgame. But in 2021, last year, Avatar got a re-release in China where it retook the number one spot. And of course, the movie was met with praise by critics, obviously for its visual look and style, but it was criticized for its time limit. I mean, it is a rather lengthy movie. I mean, the theatrical version is 162 minutes. Well, I say theatrical version because the movie got a re-release in theaters with extra footage. So, but, you know, overall, the movie ultimately received 9 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, and ultimately winning 3 for its visual effects, which were groundbreaking at the time and still are, and also for its production design and cinematography. Avatar, I believe, was the first IMAX film, technically the first movie shot in IMAX to ultimately win the Academy Award for cinematography, and ultimately is the first movie to be shot in high definition to ultimately win for cinematography. And the production design, which was done by Robert Stromberg, who would ultimately win the following year's Academy Award for production design on Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland, which is, like I said, pretty amazing. And he would go on to direct the Disney film, the live-action Disney film Maleficent with Angelina Jolie. So Robert Stromberg definitely had quite a successful career, not only as a production designer, and then eventually becoming a director. So, but the funny thing is that the Oscars, Avatar did not win Best Picture, but at the Golden Globes, however, Avatar did win. James Cameron also took Best Director, and the film won Best Picture in Drama. At the Saturn Awards, the movie actually had a perfect clean sweep, winning in all 11 categories for which it was nominated for, including Best Science. It won everything. It even swept the acting categories, except for Best Performance by a Younger Actor. Whereas, Sigourney Weaver took Best Supporting Actress, Stephen Lang took Best Supporting Actor, Zoe Saldana took Best Actress in the Leading Role, Sam Worthington took Best Actor. So yeah, crazy thing is Sam Worthington was actually living in his car at the time when he got the audition for Avatar. And also interesting that around the time Avatar was still in production, Terminator Salvation was starting to undergo production too, and they were looking for the right actor to play a character in the film, and James Cameron suggested Sam Worthington, who he worked with on Avatar, and that's how Sam Worthington got the role of Marcus Wright in Terminator Salvation, which came out the same year. It's really awesome to see that most of the cast members that worked on Avatar did return for the sequel, Avatar: The Way of Water, which I'm glad to hear opened up pretty strongly. In fact, it opened up even bigger than the first film did. So let's see how far it goes. And it, too, got about the same powerful critical reception that Avatar did, so glad to hear that. Hopefully it goes far, and I still can't wait to see it. I'm already hyped. So let's talk about the Blu-ray release here. So the Blu-ray for Avatar is just, this is gorgeous. And yeah, this is the extended Blu-ray collector's edition, and yeah, I love that. I love the holographic cover art. That is cool. So neat. I could just do that for hours on end, and that would be cool. But anyway, yeah, the collector's edition release is pretty amazing, although it's kind of odd, though, because, yeah, you pull the sleeve off, and yeah, there's this. And I'm like, this isn't the typical standard keep case like a regular Blu-ray is. It's not like this. So, pull this one out. And holy crap, there's another thing here? What the heck? And yeah, this is what holds the discs in, but oh yeah, that is cool. I like the, but where are the discs at? Oh, yes, I know exactly where they're at. They're in these little plastic sleeves that pull out. There's actually 3 discs in here. The first disc is the movie with 3 different versions of the film. Yeah, 3 different versions of the movie. The theatrical, special edition re-release, and an extended release that's specifically for this collector's edition release of the film. So the first disc is the movie, has all 3 versions, and the other 2 discs are basically the bonus features. So yeah, the extras are spread across all 3 discs. I mean, spread across all 2 discs. The movie disc doesn't have any extras, save for the extended versions, plus the deleted scenes marker to show you where all the deleted footage came into play. So when it comes to the video quality for Avatar, I really don't need to go into much detail with the video because the video is just absolutely gorgeous. This is one movie that you just don't really seem to care much for the story. All you really care about is you just want to see how gorgeous this film looks. And this movie, like I said, is a literal work of art. Every frame of this movie is just beautiful in every way. And I saw the movie in 3D, and honestly, this was one movie that I feel that was kind of meant to be seen in 3D because, I mean, even with the little jellyfish things that come out of the tree when they envelop Jake Sully in his avatar form, in his Na'vi form, I felt like you could actually reach out and grab one. I really felt like you could reach out and grab one. And that was amazing. This is the kind of movie that really was meant to be seen in 3D. So definitely out of 5 stars for the video. Oh, it gets a solid 5 out of 5. It's a beautiful movie. Probably one of the most gorgeous looking films I've ever seen on high def. Beautiful in every way. As for the audio, well, once again, the audio is just simply pulse pounding. So the movie is presented in widescreen. It's 178 by 1. The audio in its 5.1 DTS, it sounds incredible. It sounds beautiful. I really don't want to go into too much detail. The sound effects all come out very well. The movie did pick up sound and sound editing nominations at the Oscars, and this is a loud movie, especially with all the sound. The dialogue comes out great. Even the Na'vi language, you can understand it well as the dialogue pops up, so don't have to worry about that, trying to figure out what they say. It's funny how Sam Worthington mentioned in an interview that trying to master an American accent, he actually found learning the Na'vi language easier than mastering an American accent, since Sam Worthington's actually Australian in real life. Though that's not him on the front cover, that's actually Neytiri. Or is that? Yeah, that's Neytiri. There's Jake. Yeah, that scene in the movie is what I was talking about, where all the jellyfish, all the little creatures, they look like jellyfish, don't they? So for the audio, out of 5 stars, it too gets a solid 5 out of 5. As for the bonus features, where to begin? I wish there was a, that works too. Here we go. So yeah, this is a listing of all the bonus features. Well, I don't know if that's everything, but still, there's just so much material. First, to start off with, there's 3 different versions of the film on the movie disc, and the remaining 2 Blu-ray discs accompany all the extras, which, like I said, there's probably about close to 8 hours worth of bonus material spread across all 3 discs. Unfortunately, there is no audio commentary since James Cameron never recorded one, but the amount of material on the other 2 discs make up for that. First of all, there's a massive documentary capturing Avatar. It's a huge making of that just goes deep into the making of this movie. 45 minutes of never-before-seen deleted footage probably was never included with any of the other versions of the film. An interactive scene deconstruction, explore various stages of production through 3 different viewing modes. 17 different featurettes that cover the performance capture, the scoring of the movie, the 3D fusion camera, stunts, and even more. Art of Avatar, over 600 images. There's even a family audio track with all objectionable language removed, since they actually took out all the swearing, and so that's if you choose to watch it that way. But still, with the amount of material that's on all 3 discs, it literally makes up for the lack of an audio commentary. So this could take you days to literally get through everything. So I would say out of 5 stars for the extras, oh yeah, solid 5. This may be one of the best Blu-ray releases that's ever been made. And if there is any one version of Avatar you got to get your hands on, it's definitely this one. Although, I mean, there is a standalone Blu-ray that only is the movie itself, and it's only the theatrical version, but it doesn't have any of the extras. So they were obviously saving it all for this collector's edition release. Last I saw on Amazon, I didn't see it on, I don't know if it's available on there, but you might, I don't know if you can still find it, but if you're a fan of the movie, if you can find yourself a good copy of the Blu-ray here, I would say definitely pick it up. As for the movie itself, I would say out of 5 stars, I would give it a 4.5. This is one movie where, honestly, most of the time, you really don't seem to care about the story. All you really care about is just you just want to see the look of the film, the visual look of the movie. I mean, when it comes to, famous dialogue, Titanic had some, obviously Titanic had, "I'm the king of the world." Avatar doesn't really have as much famous, memorable dialogue, but what it does have, however, are memorable moments. Like the visuals, many parts in the film are definitely memorable for what they are. And honestly, I think in that sense, I think it holds up pretty well, if you ask me. So, Avatar really is a true work of art for a movie, and yeah, it definitely deserves a 4.5 out of 5. One last thing I got to show off here is the soundtrack. Yeah, I have the soundtrack on CD, the score by James Horner, which honestly is also a really good score for the really good score by him, and unfortunately it was one of the last few scores that he recorded before his tragic passing, since James Horner was tragically killed in a plane crash back in 2015. And he actually received an Oscar nomination for Best Original Score for Avatar. And the song "I See You," which was performed in the film by Leona Lewis, was Golden Globe nominated for Best Original Song, which it ultimately did not win. But although this version of the film is great, version of the song is great, "I See You," but honestly, if there's one version of "I See You" that you should listen to, it's the version by a performer called Catherine. I would suggest looking for that one, because that one I think is way, way better than the Leona Lewis version. I wish the Catherine version was on the CD here, but I think it was recorded separately. So, but either way, this is a good one to. This is a good one, a good soundtrack to listen to, because there are pieces that are actually really good, and it definitely accompanies the movie very well, since a lot of the music has a tribal, native feel to it. It does. A lot of it does. And I think it fits the film perfectly. Definitely gives the film its epic scope, and it kind of gives you the awe and sensation of what you're about to see, for those of you that still have yet to experience Avatar. But either way, it accompanies the film excellently. So, basically, yeah, bottom line, Avatar, is it worth watching? Yeah, it is definitely worth watching. Very much. Even though the film does borrow elements from other films in the past, it does borrow elements from all these movies, probably even more. I'm sure there are more out there that have borrowed elements from. But either way, this movie, like I often say it many times, and I've said it many times in the video, this movie really is a true work of art. The visual effects are groundbreaking and were worthy of the Oscar that they won. The production design is great, the cinematography was beautiful, and while the film ended up losing Best Picture to Catherine Bigelow's film The Hurt Locker, and she took Best Director away from James Cameron, who was nominated for Avatar, but either way, this movie still shines incredibly well, and being the highest grossing movie of all time, that's quite an accomplishment, especially for a film that took James Cameron, especially since he'd been working on this movie for over a decade. So, that's quite an accomplishment, I gotta say. The Blu-ray is an incredibly solid package, definitely one of the best ones you'll ever see in your lifetime. As I said, although the packaging is pretty huge, it's pretty bulky, but either way though, but I mean, like, the fact that you have to pull this out, pull another thing out, and get to the Blu-rays. Like I said, that's quite a bulky package. But either way, it's definitely worth it. I mean, you get 3 versions of the film with 2 discs full of additional bonus material. I mean, this is about as elaborate of a set as the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit trilogy Blu-ray releases. Literally. All around, one of the best releases ever to be put on this format. So honestly, Avatar gets a solid pass for me. And the soundtrack is gorgeous, to say the least. So, this concludes the presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will continue to do more videos in the days to come. Now that the camera marathon is finally over, I can finally move on to do other things. So until then, take care, and be safe. Just gotta do this one last time.